Welcome and thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Coaches Show, brought to you by State Farm Insurance, Susie Broderson, Shelter Insurance, Leanne Beeman, Community National Bank and Trust, J&D Pharmacy, Pitts Homes, and Tracy Spry and Associates CPA. I'm Adam Howe, your host, and alongside me, like he always is, the old ball coach, Wildcat head coach, Ryan Boyer. Coach, welcome again.
Appreciate you having me.
So we're looking forward to Week 5. Warsaw Wildcats 3-1. They are going to host Hogan Prep, the Rams, at home this week. But before we get to that one, we're going to recap, look ahead, or look back at Week 4 when the Wildcats went to Sherwood up in southern Cass County. They came away there with a 26-6 road win over the Marksmen. And Wildcats improving to 3-1, 1-0 in the conference. And it was a game that kind of had a weird feeling to it, to me, up there in the box. So neither the Wildcats or Sherwood really able to get really any kind of offensive rhythm, I guess you can call it. And kind of really neither seemed like they wanted to take control, honestly. So, and maybe I'm wrong, but what kind of challenges did you, your staff, or players face down there on the field?
Yeah, it's one, like I said, it was their homecoming, so there's, even though you're on the road, there's some distractions there, not to make any excuses at all. But, we came out and we did eventually score, but, I think probably the biggest thing was with the amount of penalties. And I know we'll probably talk more about that a little bit.
We'll definitely get to that part.
but it's tough, and we talked to the kids about that this week where, you have positive play, you have 9, 10, 12 yards, and then either the next play you have a penalty or you get a penalty to negate all of that. And so you put yourself in those situations where it's almost there for a minute. It's almost like, hey, we get a gain, then everybody's looking around, make sure there's not a flag down. And so
I know we did that in the booth.
yeah. And so with that, once we kind of settled in and again got a better feel of what they were trying to do, then did a much better job. But to that, like I said, both ways, it was just kind of choppy.
That's probably a good word for it, I guess. So, but like you said, the Wildcats came out. They got on top early, and it was early. I mean, I think they took over. I think 7:06 left, and after marching the ball down into Marksman red zone, or I guess they didn't even get to the red zone.
Yeah.
I think Tayton found Cam Severs there along the left side, and a really pretty touch pass from Tayton to Cam there, and I think it was 34 yards. And I apologize to Tayton. I think I called him Ryan that night, so I'll do a public apology. But it was a perfect touch pass from Tayton over the shoulder to Cam. And, of course, the PAT was no good, but the Wildcats were up 6-0 at the 7:06 mark in the first quarter. And then they scored again in the second quarter and made it 14-0 after a 2-point conversion. That was on a quick strike. Again, kind of getting the ball in your playmaker's hands like we talked about in past weeks. And that was just a little quick slant to Cam and then letting him do the rest with his feet. And he raced 66 yards to the end zone. So, and then I believe it was Cam on a run that converted the 2-point conversion. That made it 14-0 at the half. So, tell us, were there any kind of halftime adjustments, things that you had seen or didn't see at halftime that you guys kind of talked about and made the offense or defense, either one, I guess, effective in the second half?
Yeah, it was one, and we were pleased. You always want to get the ball to your athletes in space, and so being able to kind of take advantage of some of those mismatches, and it's nice when you get those big chunk or big time plays, because it definitely obviously points on the board, but kind of softens the defense up, especially in their secondary. But yeah, at halftime, our biggest focus was cleaning it up, not beating ourselves. When we were going through positives and negatives, a lot of those negatives were self-induced. And so, defensively, guys did a good job flying around. Sure we came out. They showed a couple things that they hadn't shown on film, broke some tendencies that we hadn't seen yet. And so kids did a good job at adjusting to that. But, overall, it was, again, just kind of, sticking to our game plan, refocusing, and, again, just cleaning up some of those negatives.
And then in the second half there, early in the third quarter, things kind of went back and forth a little bit. But then the Wildcats found the end zone again at the 2:36 mark. That was on a 3-yard touchdown run by Gage Whitaker. Again, the extra point no good, but it made the score 20-0. Sherwood actually did get on the board late in the fourth, or I guess early in the fourth. It was just after the fourth started, I guess, and they scored just on a little touchdown run, made it 20-6, and then of course we had another 3-yard touchdown run this time by Tayton that made the final 26-6, and able to just kneel the ball down and take the win. And I'm sure one that you were probably just happy to escape with.
Yeah, there's one, and we got up 20-0 there, and that's something, again, just as we grow as a team and as we progress through the season, talk to the kids about, hey, you get that lead, don't be complacent. We love, and we told them we'll take a win any way we can get it. If you can go a touchdown, average touchdown each quarter, and typically only give up one, like that is a good night. And so on that part, we were happy. But again, just getting some of these things cleaned up. Again, we're kind of working with that O-line, trying to figure out who best spots for everybody. Unfortunately, we did have, Kendall went down, but those other guys stepping in for him did a good job filling that role. And the big thing is just each week for our guys to get better. And we told them, and we keep stressing it. You always say you're going to be a 4-quarter team, but it's like, hey guys, it's not always going to be a blowout. Teams are going to show up ready to play, and teams improve, in the off season. So we have to be ready to finish for 4 quarters, and that's where when it got to 20-6 there, we felt like we kind of took the foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
Right. So, nevertheless, though, the Wildcats pick up the win on the road, and happy to, whether you call it escape or not, whether it's pretty or not, it's a road win, it's a conference win, and those ones are all big. Doesn't matter what the final score is. But really, they were able to do so by coming up with a big play when they needed it.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? Your comments there kind of led me to this question now. So, how do you feel like the connections on both sides of the ball are coming along and things are gelling? Like we said, we're reaching the midway point of the season already.
I know, it's flying by. It really is, and it is neat to see, and it's neat to see some of these guys step up that maybe weren't showing themselves truly to start out the year, and so and you just kind of figure out, hey, here's what we do best. Here's some things we struggle with, and things that we need to continue to work on. And so, the great thing is the kids are bought in, and they're believing in what we're doing and what we're preaching here. And, as far as improving from this week to the last, we challenge the kids. This last Friday was, hey, grade yourselves, and then when we meet Monday, obviously we're going to evaluate you, but you come in and you tell us what your percentage was. And it was neat to see that, and very honest answers, and so to that, I think that also helps kids realize, hey, yes, here's what coaches are talking about, and it helps us grow, and so that was good to see.
So then here's what that game looked like on the offensive side of the ball. As a team, Wildcats rushed 35 times for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns, a nice average of 5.23 yards per carry. So Tayton went 17 for 127 and 1 touchdown, and Gage Whitaker went 13 times for 40 yards and a touchdown. On the passing side, Tayton pretty efficient, 6 for 8 through the air, 160 yards, and that's almost a 27-yard per completion average. 2 touchdowns through the air, both of those going to Cam Sievers. And Cam ended up with 3 catches for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we talked about Cam being below his average last week, well above his average this week. And Nick Bagley also comes up with a big catch there in the fourth quarter for 24 yards. So the team as a total puts up 343 yards. So, but you talked about it a little bit earlier, and you said we'd get to it, and I promised we would. But penalties offensively, just on the offensive side of the ball, 8 for 67. And there was a few more on defense, and I think the Wildcats gave up over 100 yards in penalties alone. So how does the team and the staff address that penalty situation?
Our biggest thing, and it sounds so fundamental, but feet and hand placement. Running your feet, taking the correct step, and then where we were putting our hands. You want to engage that chest plate there, and it was just, and it wasn't any one person in particular. And Sherwood did a good job. It's nothing to take away from what they were doing, but there was too many times where we'd run our feet, we'd get in position, and then either our feet would stop or we would start to reach out there. And And especially if you're out on the edge or you're in space, they're going to see it every time. And we kind of, on a lighter note, told our kids like this, it's not a competition with the other team, because it seemed like there was quite a few penalties that entire game. And but that was, just to get back at the basics of it, that was the biggest thing, and that's something that we focus on every week, but we put an extreme focus on that this week.
Sure, because against a good Hogan Prep team, can't afford to give up yards like that.
Without a doubt.
On the defensive side, versus Sherwood, Gage Whitaker led the team with 7 tackles. He also had 2 sacks as a quarterback. Nick Bagley came in close with 6. Riley Taylor had 4.5. Josh Harvath, the freshman, also had 4.5 tackles. He also picked up an interception. And then Wyatt James had a big fumble recovery there in the second half. So that's the Wildcats moved to 3-1 with a win over Sherwood. And they look forward to taking on the Hogan Prep Rams, who are 4-0. And we'll discuss that one when we come back.
Hawthorne Bank supports our community. We also support our schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. Today I'm here with my friends, Coach Burdick with the Warsaw Youth Football League, and Coach Boyer. He is the athletic director for the Warsaw schools. Coach Burdick, what do you do with the money that we use for sponsorship?
We use it to purchase gear and repair gear and to purchase new jerseys.
And Coach Boyer, we've worked together on a few things. What do we work together on?
We've worked on the sponsorship for our scoreboard. In addition to, we do our Warsaw basketball tournament and our Warsaw wrestling tournament.
And through sports, our young people will learn the basics of the sport. They also learn to keep good grades, and they also have learned to build good character. When you are a customer of Hawthorne Bank, you are also supporting your community and the high school. Come open your account today.
1, 2, 3.
Gotta love Warsaw!
We do.
Hawthorne Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
All right, and we're back. Wildcats looking forward to taking on the Hogan Prep Rams in week number 5. That game will be at home at Randy Maurer Field on the WHS campus at 7 p.m. on Friday night. So Rams come in 4-0. They're fresh off of a 26-0 win over Marceline. Marceline, however, 0-4. Earlier in the season, the Rams defeat Miller 24-6. Principia with Whitfield, they beat 36-0. Summit Christian Academy, they defeat 26-7, and then of course the 26-0 win over Marceline in week 4. So the Ram defense actually pitching 2 shutouts in their first 4 weeks. And Coach, what do you see early with the Rams, and what do you look forward to?
They come in, and we had the opportunity to play them 2 years ago in the second round of districts, and so I don't want to say we're real familiar with them, but we have seen them of recent, and so they do a great job. It's smash mouth football, and that's what I told the kids. I said, man, you really love going against teams like these, and they do things different than we do as far as they run wishbone and do some things there, but as far as physical running, getting downhill, and just getting after it. That's what you want. I mean, for any of the older style football fans, this is what they would love to come out and see.
All I can hear is Ron Davis sitting at the 50-yard line for the Wildcats saying, "Smash mouth football, Wildcats!"
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly
so,
right.
Kind of looking at that, double tight, running a lot of wishbone. They do get open a little bit, run a little bit of a base offense. And it looks to me like number 10's their quarterback. Pretty athletic looking kid. He can make people miss, but we don't see him throw the ball a whole lot. I think maybe against Marceline, maybe 4 passing attempts.
Yeah.
And then in the backfield, in that wishbone backfield, I didn't get the fullback's number. 45. But I did get the tailbacks. Looked like a number 4 and a number 21.
Yep.
So number 4 looked like another good athlete, and he looked like he can get outside, but doesn't maybe really like the contact so much.
Yeah.
And then number 21 is more their downhill runner. He's not afraid of the contact, and they look to him for the tough yards.
Yeah, both those guys. That's a big thing for us is you can't let them in the open field. They do a good job of running north to south, not really trying to bounce it too much, and just fast physical runners, and 100%. And you see it on film where an arm tackle's not going to do it. And so with that, it's very, very important for us this week to you gang tackle, you swarm to it, and you try to bottle that up because What you don't see a ton, and that's where you can tell they, are really relying on that backfield, and the backfield does a good job with it, is they're about 7 yards deep. And so by the time they hit the line of scrimmage, you have a head of steam, and that's where it's so important for our D-line to get a push and do things well.
And then looked like outside they lined up number 7, maybe number 1, not involved a whole lot in a passing game, but they can catch the ball if it's thrown to them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now their offensive line, they have some size,
Yes,
but no size that we didn't see 2 weeks ago.
Right.
But maybe we can take advantage of them maybe getting downfield, because I think that at the second level, if we do a good job of attacking there, I think that's going to work in the Wildcats' favor. But how does the Wildcats? You alluded to it a second ago. So a little kind of a different offense that we haven't seen this year, because we see a lot in high school. Now they're starting to spread people out a little bit more, where Hogan Prep may have been a team like that a few years ago, but now they're just lining them back up and they want to run the ball down your throat. So how does the Wildcat defense get ready for an offense like that they really haven't seen this year at least?
Yeah, and that's where it's guys, again, understand what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, and then again, understanding, if one guy misses, there's got to be another guy there, because if we get dominated up front, it's going to be a long day. And just with the speed and ability they have, and and our guys, like I said, I think they've really enjoyed the week, because there's always keys and reads that you have, but with a style of play like this, it's not as complicated. But again, it's mano a mano type style, and so we're looking forward to it. I feel like we match up well, and again, just the physicality of it all should be pretty good on Friday night.
Yeah, I really look forward to watching players like Nick Bagley and Gage Whitaker at that second level, because those guys are ones who aren't afraid to stick their nose in the middle of something, and they're going to be challenged this week.
Without a doubt.
So then looking at the defense, looks to me, I saw several different things, but a lot of different lineups. But it really looked to me like a three-man front, and they maybe bring a guy off of an edge, and really, really big up front. They've got some big men up front, but not a whole lot of push. And then looks to me like they rely on that second level to really make a lot of their plays, and that's 59, 17, 52, and 8. And 59 has a nose for the ball.
Yeah.
He will get there. They do get to the ball quick. They do a decent job of getting several players to the play.
Yeah, and like you said, big up front, and those guys, they do a good job. Kind of, if you're running a three-man front, kind of the rule of thumb is those guys need to take or demand a double team. And if they're able to do that, we tell our guys the same thing. If you're able to do that, that does free your linebackers up to kind of run free and do some things. And then the secondary, they keep it all in front of them. They really, you can tell. They're wanting to make teams drive, force you to make a mistake, and obviously, their defense has done a good job. I think they've given up 2 scores all year, and so with that, again, it's hands, feet placement, and then getting downhill. Their overall speed on defense is very impressive. So again, we're not going to be trying to run east to west. We never do, but put your foot in the ground and don't let one guy bring you down.
So then in front of an anticipated good home crowd, Wildcats looking for their first home win of the 2022 season. How can the Warsaw offense plan to attack the Rams defense to get things going early and set the tone for the game, maybe get the crowd into it?
Yeah, it's just coming out ready to play, and last week we were fortunate we did get the ball first, so you're able to drive down, get points on the board, and work ahead. In a game like this, field position is crucial. Even though you may not score on a drive, you want to make them turn around and drive the field too. It's one of those games that I don't know how high scoring it'll be. You never know. But I'll never try to predict that. But with that, I think, like I said, it's just we used to hear it all the time, fist fight in the phone booth type game, and I think that's probably what you're going to get. Good.
So Wildcats welcome the Hogan Prep Rams into town Friday night in Week 5. Hogan Prep comes in 4-0. Wildcats sit at 3-1. We'll be back right after this.
Veracruz Trace Mexican Restaurant in Lincoln, Missouri is proud to support Lincoln and Warsaw High School football. The friendly staff at Veracruz serves delicious and authentic Mexican cuisine Sunday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday through Saturday from 11 to 10. Try it for yourself at 455 North Highway 65 or call it in at 660-547-0315.
And we're back on Week 5 Coaches Show. I'm Adam Howe, your host. With me again, Coach Boyer of the Warsaw Wildcats. And kind of recapping a busy week in Warsaw sports. Kind of going back to Saturday, the youth football team was busy at home. And I guess I always say that, but the flag guys play in Sedalia.
Yeah.
So they split. I think they went 1-2 up there in Sedalia. And then 3rd and 4th won their game. And I don't think they've been beat yet. And then 5th and 6th lost their game, and they're still looking for their first win. But I'm really coming along there, I think, after talking to Drew a little bit. So then we got into the week, and now we got busy. So then Monday, JV football, did they go to Adrian?
Yep, went to
So they
Adrian.
went to Adrian. They actually absorbed their first loss, but a really close one. I think Garrett Ferguson had the lone touchdown for the Wildcats, but they lose a close one, 8-6. So that one obviously came down to just a 2-point conversion. Junior high 7th grade, they traveled to Russellville in an added game, and they took one on the chin that night. Didn't even bother to write the score down for that one or the next one when junior high football lost at Sherwood. So I don't even know what those scores were, but Coach Ironman, Coach Bybee, working with those guys to get things to come along there, and I'm sure that they will. Varsity volleyball, they hosted Versailles. They took a loss, but the JV team, I think they picked up their 10th win of the year with a win over the Lady Tigers. Junior high volleyball, I believe they went to Smith Cotton. I think the A team lost, the B team won. Cross country ran at Stockton, and I think high school medalist was Jackson Deckard, and then middle school medal 2 in Jasmine Myers and Emily Witt. So congratulations to those guys. Wednesday night, kind of a night we don't expect a whole lot going on, but we did have it again. Varsity volleyball, they lost at home to Smithton, but JV improved to 11-1-1 with a win over the Tigers. Thursday night, volleyball is at El Dorado Springs, and then junior high volleyball is at home versus Buffalo. And then, of course, tomorrow night on Friday, that is the Wildcats against the Hogan Prep Rams. Youth football on Saturday, they travel up to Windsor. 5th and 6th take on Crestridge. 3rd and 4th is on a bye. Cross country travels to Hermitage, and I believe the band goes down to Mount Vernon. So a packed week. And WHS activities and Warsaw activities as a whole, so not just the high school. You've got to know we've got a quarterback club tailgate on Friday night.
Yes, we do. Looking forward to that. Like I said, we always appreciate the quarterback club members, Mac Vorst and his crew.
That's the Truman Lake Adventure Club this week.
Yep, they're coming out, and we're actually get a chance to introduce those guys during pregame. Recognize them, everything they do. Neat group, great events, and I know they have a big event coming up. I can't remember.
Sunday.
It is a Sunday.
Yes.
I can't remember if it's this or next. So.
Yeah, they're going to do that one here, and Mac actually recorded a show here, so I get to eavesdrop on those, and they've got a slew. So this NICA deal's huge.
Yeah.
So they're bringing a slew of people to town, and gosh, I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago in their last race, I think they've got 11 riders, and I think 9 of them were on podiums. So I'm going to get a chance to recognize those guys.
Yeah.
And I think last year, I don't know if we let them ride their bikes out on the field or something like that, but everybody going to kind of get a glimpse of the NICA riders. And then, of course, a little plug for Mac here. If nobody's doing anything on Sunday, I know they're looking for help out there.
Yeah.
It's such a huge event. So, all right, so it's the Wildcats back at home this week. They host the Hogan Prep Rams, and that kickoff set for 7 p.m. on Randy Maurer Field at the WHS campus. And everybody looks forward to seeing you all there. As a reminder, if you can't make it out to the field, you can also watch all Wildcats football games live on BCE TV via www.citylinktv.com, where Matt Dove and Drew Burdick are always looking forward to bringing the games to you. So thanks for clicking in today. For head coach Ryan Boyer, I'm Adam Howe. I'm going to the house.
This has been a BCE TV production. Thank you for watching.